Good evening everyone, it's Christine here. Thanks so much for stopping by, and thanks to everyone for your support on my videos and also for your support recently with some of the challenges that we've been having. So I'll give you an update on how we're going with those challenges a little bit later, but I'll first of all just talk about what's on the table in front of me and my plans for today's little crafting session with you. So on the table in front of me, I've got an amazing selection of lots of lovely, mostly cottons, some cottons and linens and some pure linens, as well as a few synthetics thrown in. And these are all fabric samples that I got from the Reverse Art Truck, which collects up supplies from industry here in Melbourne. And it's industries that get the fabric samples to select from to use in their products. So look at these amazing linen, all the different colors. I've actually kept them in their little different color swatches because I thought that could be super useful when I'm just looking for a little bit of fabric to use, because they're the perfect size for slow stitching when you just want to add some little small sections to your larger sections of fabric, and so more linens of every possible color. And then some of them I've also taken out of that packaging that you can see here, so just they're readily available. And then even right down to little scraps. Now these ones I had to chop the corners off because they were actually stuck down with something that was quite sticky. But I'll even be able to cut those down further and use those, or maybe even make little flowers or other shapes out of them. So I've sorted my fabrics into some piles, and you can probably not even see some of them on film. And these were just ones that I got last weekend from the Reverse Art Truck when I was taking Travis for a walk, and thought, oh, I'll just pop in while I'm in the parkland where it is. And they're really lovely in that you can bring your well-behaved dog in there as well. So these are all the blues just from that little bag of, and these were smaller scraps or smaller fabric samples that were on littler cards, sort of this sized card. And then I get bigger pieces of fabric that can be used for larger, but today I wanted to just really draw on the smaller pieces because these have such lovely designs on them that I'm really excited to be getting the lovely patterns in. So I've sorted them into piles. So I've got sort of pinkies here. I've got yellows here. Got reds, multicoloreds, where I couldn't quite decide what color it was. Got browns and taupes. Oops, sticking to my finger. And then I have purpley ones and blacks and whites over here. And did I show you? Can't remember if I showed you the greens. Lots of greens. All different colour greens. And then I've got some little piles on the table here, which were a whole lot of the scraps that were just in these little strip sort of sizes, and most of them are similar size. Some of them are slightly larger, like these ones, so they're a bit larger than the other ones and will possibly have to be trimmed down for what I'm thinking of doing with them. So I've sorted these ones into colours, and then I've just put them into little stacks of 3. And what I'm thinking of doing is using my pegs. They're the old style clothing peg for the clothesline, or dolly pegs I think they're called as well. So they're just wooden ones. I got them just a while ago from a craft store, and I got a really big bag of them. So Basics by Zart, Z-A-R-T. This lot is from Noble Park in Victoria. And then this one I have painted today just using some acrylic paint in white, which I got from Kmart or Target. I think this one from Kmart. And I just used a little brush, actually from a Lancome makeup set where I hadn't used the brush, and it was the perfect size for just painting it. And the way I painted it so that I didn't get paint on my fingers was I put it on a piece of the cardboard, again the cardboard that the samples had come on, and it just sat neatly over there, and I was able to paint and even just get up into that little bit. The only bit that's not painted is the area in between there, but I don't think that's actually going to matter for the purpose I'm using it for. So I haven't yet decided whether I'm going to go with the white ones or the natural wood coloured ones, but I just thought I'd have them both here to make a decision on. And I thought I'd show you, yeah, what I'm thinking tonight, and we'll make a little start on it, but feel free, you'll be able to have some time to get some materials together, and you can join in with with future videos when we work on them together. So my thinking is that I'm going to make little snippet rolls on these as an Easter decoration for the table. And so a snippet roll is basically where you have a length of fabric and you decorate it, and then you unroll it, and you can decide what way you want it to unroll, whether you're having the decorated surface sort of unrolling on the middle, or have it unrolling this way. And so I'm planning to use 3 pieces to start with, in a similar colour story, to make my snippet roll base, and then to start adding features to it like buttons and lace and other squares of material. And what I want to do is use it for my Easter table as the little name place for everyone that's going to be there. And so I want to add some little squares and do embroidery on those squares with the name of each of the people that are going to be coming. So I think even for the longest name, which mine might actually be the longest name of people that are going to be there. My little niece is Emily Rose. Christine's obviously quite a lot of letters, but then the others are relatively few letters. I'm just thinking Silvano, got a few letters in it, but my parents, Liz and Ken, Rob, Michelle's got a few letters in it as well. So we've got a few that are longer, but I'm confident I'd be able to fit them on, or if I need to, I can extend the rolls even further. So I thought tonight we can make a start on here, and what I'm thinking is when I come to attach it to the rolls, whether I use the natural colour or the white one, I'll be able to just glue down the very end bit where it starts, and then it will hold on perfectly, and I'll just glue it where that little line is on the peg. And I'm thinking I can even turn them into little bunny pegs by just cutting out some felt, probably in white or in pink, and making some little ears. I suppose if I did them in this more natural colour, I might make them brown, but probably white would be the best colour here for those. So I'll have to experiment with, and we can probably do it together, with adding some ears on using some glue. I've got the fabric glue from Mod Podge that glues well to fabric, so I can probably use that, but I'm sure PVA or something else would work as well. So the other thing you could use if you didn't have dolly pegs, but you had some either old or replica bobbins, you could use those as well. Now for this, they're probably just a little bit too small, and I don't have enough of these in this size. I've got a lot of smaller even than this one, but it would just be a little bit squishy and a little bit crinkly, whereas the benefit of these is that they will, they'll be able to have that length and still be able to clip onto something, because I'm thinking on the Easter table I can clip them onto the side of a glass or a card as well. I could use some vintage Easter designs and make a little card for everyone as well, which might be nice if I end up having these rolled around, and then people can unroll to see their name. So we'll see how we go. We can have a play with that as well. So let's get going on that. I'll just get these extra ones. I'll just put them over here in a stack so I don't get those mixed up, having sorted them out. And yes, you're probably thinking, oh, is it too early for Easter? But it's going to come around very quickly, I think, and because we've got family coming over, it's from the Western Australia, so travelling across borders, seeing each other for the first time in a very long time. I'm sure time is going to go very fast as we approach Easter. I don't know what I've done. Oh, there's my roller. I was just thinking I don't know where my roller is, but it's exactly where I put it and where it's meant to live. I need to take a sheet off. let's not roll our fabric. Let's just roll all the little crumbs of fabric. Fabric crumbs, that's not really a thing, is it? Just making words up as I go. Okay, so get our needle, and this is one of those clothes picks which I actually use to roll threads around. So I want to use a pink, but I want it to kind of show out a bit, because the whole idea with these snippet rolls is that you do sort of, yeah, stitches and things that are visible. Just want to see, no, I don't have a small section of that to cut by the looks of it. How much do I need? Probably not too much at this stage. Okay. Oops, boom, everything moves. Hopefully you didn't move, but the table moved as I banged it. I keep forgetting I can't wheel that much further over. I might do, yeah, I'll do 3 threads because I want it to be a little bit noticeable what I'm going to do to stitch the pieces together. So it's Friday evening here in Melbourne, and yesterday we had our cardiologist appointment for Alex, so thank you again for everyone that was thinking of us. As you probably got the sense, we were a bit nervous. Well, I was a bit nervous about what was going to happen, and Alex was, yeah, definitely nervous. But we were lucky to get in and see a cardiologist so quickly, as one of the commenters said. In other countries, it's hard to get in and see a specialist so quickly. So we are definitely super grateful for that. And thinking of those of you that are in having health conditions and having real weights, absolutely, I'm holding you in my thoughts. So got in to see the cardiologist yesterday, and he talked through what the results were showing from the stress test, which basically in layman's terms or lay person's terms means that Alex's heartbeat is irregular and goes very irregular when he is under heart stress. So when he is pushed on the stress testing machine to, for example, run on the treadmill quite fast, his heartbeats go very irregular and very fast. So it's what they call an unsustained something tachycardia, which basically means fast beating heart. The good thing is it doesn't happen when he is at rest or just at sort of ambling pace, I guess. So if he was just going for an ambling walk with the dog, which he tends to do, I tend to pound the pavements, it doesn't show when he's at that pace at the moment. The problem with this particular condition is that if you do end up in that heightened state, you can actually go unconscious. And so the cardiologist asked a number of times, oh, have you gone unconscious before? Nope. Alex was like, nope. Have you gone dizzy before? And he's like, no, not really. So Alex has been lucky to be relatively asymptomatic with this condition, which can actually have quite severe things of unconsciousness. And when you lose consciousness, that would obviously be quite a serious medical condition. And it can lead to severe heart attacks and potentially to death. So it's not something absolutely to treat lightly, and hence why the referral occurred so quickly. It's also not very common in people of Alex's age, and at the moment they don't actually know what is causing it. So we have referrals now to go and get further scans, and even something they call genetic testing of the heart. So to see, I guess, what might be inherited symptoms or otherwise, or not symptoms, inherited conditions. The good thing is that the cardiologist was able to prescribe medication which will basically slow Alex's whole system down, and that will mean that his heart won't, even if he was in a situation that put him under stress, he won't actually get that heightened heart rate happening. and it's got the added bonus that it also pushes down blood pressure. And Alex has also recently been having very high blood pressure spikes and having sort of almost a sustained blood pressure that's higher than it should be. So Alex got that medication yesterday, and he'll go back in about a week and a bit to see, to do another stress test and see how his heart is behaving with the medication. But we know that the medication must already be working because Alex's blood pressure has already dropped down in less than a day. It had already happened by later this morning to a level that's actually normal, which is really, really amazing that it's worked so quickly. So hopefully it's working just as well on the heart as it is actually working on the blood pressure. And then I guess in a week and a half's time we'll get an answer to that. How is it actually working on the heart? But it's left me really hopeful because we've seen that rapid resolution of the blood pressure. It's left me very hopeful that we're going to see good results with the medication. And that, in a sense, doesn't buy the time, but it means that Alex has a degree of protection from adverse events occurring with his heart while they work out what is actually causing it. So that's the thing they don't know yet. It's a bit puzzling because of his age, and that's why he needs to do the further tests and further specialist visits. So we're waiting for, it's another hospital that the scan has to be done, so we're waiting for that hospital to get in touch. Now, you probably didn't tile onto this video to hear all about that, but I know a few of you have been thinking of us, so I did want to give you an update and get your positive thoughts have definitely worked, and we're keeping really positive about it as well. I think Alex was definitely very stressed about it, and I don't blame him. Like when someone says, yep, we're going to rush you into the cardiologist tomorrow, you're naturally going to be concerned. So what I'm doing here is just stitching the pieces together, and I've just decided to do some little crosses on that side, and I'm actually now just thinking, what am I going to do on this side? I might just do some little V's. So I want to vary the things that I do on each of these pieces, because they're little snippet rolls, and you kind of want to give the person looking at it lots of interesting things to see. And ultimately I'll have to see whether I want to do this, but I'll probably put a backing piece on it as well. It probably depends how neatly I stitch, really, as to whether it needs the backing piece or not. Little V's. So this is going to be a nice little project that's just really relaxing, because there's actually no rule. I'm not trying to create a picture. I'm just combining beautiful little snippets of fabric and making little embellishments to put on. Haven't done quite. Is that enough? That's probably enough down there, because we'll probably put something over. So I'll just do a little knot. It's a very nice thread, actually. It's got a lovely glisten to it. So yeah, definitely going into the weekend feeling a lot better. The one issue with the medication is that it can make you very tired and give you a lot of fatigue. But interestingly, Alex has been feeling quite tired with all the symptoms that he'd been having. So today he wasn't really feeling significantly more tired than he had been feeling. So hopefully it might just be kind of either holds constant, or if the blood pressure and heart actually gets a bit better, who knows, he might be able to avoid the symptoms. So what will we do next? I was thinking we might make a little Suffolk puff or a yo-yo, and I was thinking I might try using this one. Definitely feels like a synthetic. I'll just have to see how it goes for doing that. So to make a yo-yo, you need something round to draw around. And because I want these yo-yos to be quite petite, I'm going to try this size to start with. We'll see how we go. Oops. Just using my friction marker probably should have actually done it close to the edge. I was just being lazy there, just drawing it any which place, but obviously do it close to the corner and then you'll be able to use the full bit of fabric. So I'll show you how to make a Suffolk puff or yo-yo if you haven't done one before. There's a few methods, so I'll show you mine. Just put that over there. That. Just going to use some regular cotton because I don't need to use the embroidery floss for this. Doesn't really matter what colour you use, but I might just use a pink in case any of it, a light pink in case any of it shows through. Okay, so I hope you're all doing okay. And yeah, absolutely thinking of any of you that are navigating yourselves through health issues and chronic health conditions that you might be managing over the long term. So what I'm going to do is just fold over the edge ever so slightly. I'm just going to chop that little endy bit off. I haven't actually made a Suffolk puff for a while. I'm just remembering which way I actually need to pop in. I don't think it actually matters which way I start. So I've got the little knot on the inside. Probably should have done it on the very inside. Sorry, I'll just make sure I'm on camera. And then I'm just going to do up and down stitches, but turning the little corner of the fabric over as I go and just catching the fabric as I go. These are a great thing to do if you're just sort of relaxing of an evening or on a trip somewhere. You can just stitch away on them and get a nice little supply. I've actually been wanting to do that for a while. I've got some, but they're only in a particular sort of set of colours, so it'll be nice to add to my collection. And having all these other bits of fabric, I can draw from those. I try and choose fabrics that have got a relatively small design on them, or a sort of a single colour design, just because by the time it all gets brought together you don't get to see that much fabric. I was worried this synthetic might fray a bit, but so far it's okay. There's a dog barking outside, poor pup. He's upset about something. Definitely not Travis. Travis is downstairs on the couch. He was so funny. I got up to go and do something. Oh, that's right. I was doing our grocery shop. I do it online. I heard Corinne talking about grocery shopping the other day, and she said, yeah, doesn't really enjoy it. That's why I do it online, because then someone else can go around and pick the goodies out, and then they just drop it to our door. And I actually try and only do a grocery shop every 6 weeks or so. So when I do it, it's a big shop. It does stun you when you look at prices these days. It's just everything has gone up so much. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, I was doing my grocery shop. I got up to go and get my credit card so I could enter that into the payment bit. And in the time that I got up from the couch and left my spot, Travis, the pup, had hopped up on the couch, found the nice little cozy spot and plopped himself down. So he's not silly. He wasn't going to pass up a nice little bottom warmed spot. But that's fine. He knows that I'm usually up here crafting of an evening, and he'll wander up periodically and check on Mum. But as he gets older, he's 3 and a bit now, he definitely likes more and more of his sleep. When we had him as a puppy, he used to just be on the go all the time. He was definitely a very, very full-on puppy, and I think it would only be like at sort of like 9 o'clock at night that he would finally settle down. And up until that point, he was just, keeping both my partner and I absolutely busy. But it was the biggest blessing, really, because we got Trevor during the whole COVID pandemic and lockdowns and just having someone that just made us laugh all the time and absolutely kept us on our toes and didn't really let us kind of think or dwell about anything else that was happening. It was just, yeah, the biggest gift. And also someone that got us out every day and got us moving. Obviously didn't get Alex moving super fast, but got him absolutely moving. Got us fit, which was good. Because I know in the early days of the pandemic, because I wasn't doing my morning swims, which I'd been doing for a good few years up until then, and I wasn't going out really for walks or anything, yeah, it does start to take its toll, both physically, but I think also just that mental well-being as well. It was kind of that novelty at first, wasn't it, when we all, well, not everyone moved to working from home, but for all of the ones in our organisation, we pretty much did. Bit of a novelty to start, but then you kind of, yeah, the novelty definitely wore off. So that's why it was so lovely to get a puppy that needed our attention and needed our focus and needed our training. And ultimately decided that nope, the guide dog life was not going to be for his career choice, and that he wanted to be a loved family pet. So he definitely chose the right household to be raised in, and to then to then pursue that career ambition. So I've made my way around, and what I'm now going to do is just gently pull the thread. You don't want to break it, but you want to get it all gathering in. So I'll just show you what it's looking like. I probably should have actually done one more stitch at the end, or maybe 2 stitches, just to make sure it fully gathers all the way around. Obviously easier to do the stitches before you gather it in, but it's still possible. And you can see they shrink right down from the size that they are, but I want these little Suffolk puffs to be quite petite. Here we go. And you want to just sort of shape them into the shape that they need to be. There's some that's just not gathering quite as we want it to there. There's also a little loose tufty end. I'm just going to sort of make sure it is sitting the way I want it to sit, and then I'm going to pull it as tight as it will go without breaking anything, and then I'm just going to put a little stitch or 2 across the surface just to hold it in place. Pull it tight again, squishy it down. I know it's tiny, so I'll hold it up to the camera in a moment so you can see it. So yeah, it's good to do them in different sizes, but as I say, I want some quite small ones for this project because they are only relatively small little, oops, got a double knot. Are we going to be able to get the double knot out, or will I just have to hide that little bit in the center? I'm thinking I'm going to just have to tuck that in and be done with it. I don't want to cut it off because I'm worried that it will be the bit that needs to hold the whole Suffolk puff in place. So let me just finish putting it into the center. So we've got a long weekend coming up, well, already started here, for Labour Day, and also for a festival called Moomba, which focuses around the banks of the Yarra. So we won't be going to the festival. We just plan some nice quiet activities, do some nice quiet walks, nothing strenuous obviously. But yeah, it's going to be beautiful weather. It was a gorgeous day today, and so we want to get out and enjoy it. Okay. So hopefully you can see See that? And it's quite small, very petite. But let's have a look how it would look on our little. So as you can see, it's the perfect size in that you could have a little cluster of 3 of those, for example, on there. And so you can do a few things with these. You can leave their centers a bit open, and then you can do some little tufts of thread coming out. You can also sew them down, obviously, that way, the side that's flash and decorative. But it's quite nice to do them this way. You can also iron these so they go extra flash, and if you want them to look a bit more vintage, particularly if they were larger, you can wash them and then iron them so they get that more vintagey look. You can also put a button in the center of them, and if you make ones of multiple different sizes, you can layer them on top of each other. So we'll probably do a few of those different activities. But let's just have a look if in this box from when I was doing my little flower piece, do I have any? I don't have any pink buttons in there, but I do have my buttons at close range. So I will just grab my little button box and see if there was something that might be. So I've even got nice little flowers we could use on there. Got these ones that I didn't end up using in the piece. Got a little rose. So this one might be a perfect little scroll for Emily Rose for my niece, and I can even use a rose. I could even have Emily and then a rose. That could be cute. Oops, just little normal buttons, but they'll be good as well. Could even use some reds. They're probably a little bit too red. Some little buttons that look like little lollies. Some nice pinky buttons with squares on them. Another rose button. Oh, a little heart, that's sweet. It's slightly more orangey, isn't it, that one? But then you can use just neutral coloured buttons as well. I love all the little buttons. And because the design's also got like white flowers on it, I can bring whites into it. I might go better on a blue scroll. Oops. Plenty of lovely different vintage buttons, so I won't have any shortage of little buttons to add. Probably don't need the red one. And there, I think they're going to be a bit too big unless I use that maybe on one of the closures. Brighter pink. So little pink beads. I'll be able to add beads as well. Probably enough buttons to play with. That's what's holding this open. Something's holding it up. There we go. Okay, can you see? You can see most. I think you can see all of that on the camera. So when I come to then do the little pieces with the name on it, I can use plain bits of fabric, for example. So I'm just going to get my needle out of the way. Plain bits of fabric. So we could just cut, for example. And again, you don't want to be totally precise. Crooked is fine. Unless crooked really bothers you, then do it whatever way you want. But the reality is you don't have to aim for perfection. And so these are the pieces I'm going to use to put the name on, I think. That's my thinking. So I might even start on, I quite like the linens actually. I'm not sure if I'll end up I can use that piece though. But there's probably quite a few linen-y colours that I'll be able to use. As I say, I can even bring in the white, and I can bring in the taupe because that's already on the base as well. But I suppose I don't need to do all of that yet, because maybe we'll just do a little bit of stitching together. And I've still got, I might though use a different, might do it in all different pinks. So I've got this more intense pink here. Now what, I might do it relatively, might do it at the full set of strands that are on here. So the 6 strands with the embroidery floss. I guess 6, isn't it? Depends if I've already used some of the strands, that's possible too, given it was rolled on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like there might only be 5 unless I'm miscounting. I was going to tie a knot, wasn't I? Oh my goodness. That's not where I wanted the knot to go. Normally that technique works fine, but nope, the knot has gone there. So you know what? I'm going to leave the knot there. Sometimes you just don't need to push against the universe. You can just go, okay, that's how you want it. Sure. So this is a similar technique that I used to create my garden show banner, just doing backstitch. Just checking I'm on camera, move it over a bit. And so I could either do this once I'd sewn the little patches on the fabric, which might be a better idea, although this way if I make a boo-boo it's going to be easier to fix up. Just like that one, I'm not that happy because that stitch didn't go all the way back to where it was meant to. So either way you could sew all your little patches down, but first of all I just want to see if I'm happy with the sizing that I'm making them. And so you could do this little idea really for anything, or even just as a little card for someone. And as I say, you can wrap it around anything really, a snippet roll. You don't have to follow a prescribed approach. But I love these sorts of little projects because they're really achievable, they're really doable, and there's something where you can take just a few little materials along with you if you're traveling, for example, and create something as you go. And it's also a great way to repurpose scraps, because if you're like me, you've also, as well as having these lovely exciting new scraps to play with, you've probably got a scrap jar full of goodies as well. In fact, I'm even looking at the fabric that I used for my banner for the garden show piece, and that's got some lovely pink and blue and purples on it, and I've got a scrap of that in the jar. I think my first cut of the banner, I just wasn't quite happy with the look of it, so I have that. Probably should have done the middle part of this E first to save thread, but never mind. It is what it is. It's a bit of a bodgy bottom of the E as well, but I think it's fine. Oops, want out a bit further on that one, or is that okay? I think that's all right. Because this fabric is not see-through, I think I can just jump straight up on the back. As you can see, if it was see-through, you'd probably see the thread, and so you'd want to follow back to back along the thread and then come out from the center. But I can be a bit lazy this time around. So I hope you have some fun plans for the weekend, or relaxing plans if you need that R&R. Sometimes I reckon they're the best weekends, when you can just kind of take it easy and do the things that you most want to do, rather than having lots of commitments, because there's enough commitments during the week. I don't know how the parents do it when they've got the school commitments and the sport commitments and so many things to do. At least Travis is pretty happy if he just gets to go for a walk somewhere different, or gets to go down the dog park, or gets to see some family or friends. He's pretty stoked. So I'm just going to tie that off, and then I'll show you how that looks. Okay. So that's our little E with the satin stitch. You can definitely do neater satin stitch that I've done on the back, but that's the benefit of doing it on here. It's going to keep the back of this piece quite neat, so maybe that is the trick. And then I can just stitch around it, potentially just with an invisible stitch, just using the thin cotton when I go to sew that down. So let's pick out some of the other, and I just noticed I dropped down some of my lovely fabric samples on the floor. So as I was saying, there's that sort of yellowy browny colour in here, so I could even use some of those tones, but they're probably a little on the two brown side. I've got some brown there as well, so I could, but I don't think I want to use browny browns in this if it's for Emily Rose. Probably a bit too small, that piece. I do quite like the natural fibres. Just seeing what else I've got in a pinky colour. Is that the same pink that I've known? That's a slightly different pink, so I can definitely avail myself of a piece of that. I've already used a white, so I don't think I need to use that. I suppose I can use some of these pieces from over here as well if they're a bit more plain coloured, so I could use a bit of the spotty fabric. What's this stripy one on it? It's got quite a few prints on it. Any more plain ones in this lot? I mean, I'd have a heap of other fabrics anyway. As I was flagging, I've got my immediate scrap jar here. So that banner piece is probably going to be a bit too... These ones are a lot smaller. Excuse me for a moment while I hop up and grab one of my other scrap bags. Well, in fact, two actually. I lie, there's so many scrap bags around. Let's grab our smaller scraps bag. Let's have a look. That could be okay because it's a nice light taupe. That could be cute. It's slightly red, but I think I can get away with that for the the pink. So I should put all these over here. That's definitely more for the blues piece. Got a nice pink silk. Bit of fluoro, 80s vibe. It's a cute little bit of fabric. Bit more of the pinks with greens on it. I've got a piece of pinky lace, so we'll keep that out. That's quite nice. Bit of very bright pink. So all these scraps as well from the reverse art truck. Another piece of sort of more neutral coloured lace. I think this might have been bits I dyed when I was doing my tea dyeing and other dyeing technique. Oh, good! I found this piece. This piece has been floating around ever since I cut it out from this little scrap of fabric that I got. And yeah, it'd be perfect for Emily Rose. Maybe not on this piece, but I'm going to have to use it for something for her when she comes over. I think she would like that. It's a nice pink flower here, whether I'd cut out some of that and scrappy applique it on. And I've got some nice little edgy whitey bits. Very bright flower there, but I'll get it out because that could be useful. And here's a bit more of the fabric I made the banner out of. Just having a look what else I have that is pinky coloured. I think that's more of a red, but it could be useful for other pieces. This has some little nice pinky flowers on it as well as blues. Dropping fabric everywhere, but hey, that's half the fun, right? Until you have to clean it up. And then these are some bigger bits of fabric. But I quite like this one. And I like that it's already got little squares, so I might just take a little bit of that off. Probably help if I use bigger scissors than just little embroidery scissors, but hey, they're here. And here I am. What else do we have in our bag of goodies? You see another nice bright bit of fabric sample from the reverse art truck. Got some other, they're bigger flowers, so I'm not sure if they'll be totally suitable. Some beautiful little roses. Got little birdhouses. I used these with one of my Christmas prompts, but I don't think any in there are pink. So put those back. And I've got some more pinky large flower fabric there. This one I used to make my journal for Junk Journal January, to make the cover. So that's lovely. And then this is that fabric I used for my flower pot prompt, and it's got a nice little pink flower. So I reckon we can use that. I'm going to have more to put on this little snippet roll than I'll have space. Again, some nice little roses. And a vintage appliqued duck, but a bit too big, but the fabric's got some nice colour in it. That's probably more for my purples, so I'll pull that out. I reckon that's most of the pieces in there, so I think I've actually got more than I could possibly need at the moment. And so, as I mentioned, I'll be drawing on and using a variety of laces, buttons, and basically just finding ways to lay them down to create a really interesting surface. But I think first up I'll get all my little embroideries done, and then I can look at how they sit over the surface. But I won't bore you with that. Maybe once I've got all those done and I've looked out some more pink little tidbits, we can come together and we can then proceed to stitch it down. And I might decide that I need to extend my little roll, and I'll make some more Suffolk puffs, and maybe next time we'll have a go at making some other embellishments as well. There's another one that I've forgotten the name of where you use wool and you almost sort of weave it around, and it makes it look like sort of like a spider web, but not quite. But I might make Suffolk puffs in a few other sizes as well to have ready for the next time we come back. So thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks again for everyone that's been thinking of us, and yeah, just really appreciate you watching and commenting. If you want to pop a like down below, if you want to subscribe, then you'll be notified when I put more of my crazy videos up. But thanks again everyone, and I look forward to seeing my fellow video makers slow stitching adventures. So you can also feel free to tag me if I haven't discovered your channel yet. Take care, have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye everyone.